Hey, this is Zod from the Zod and Drea podcast, and we're standing here on First Friday, Phoenix, Arizona, and we're going to ask a few of the people here, especially the voters who voted in this last midterm election, what their opinion is on not just the process, but also the people they voted on. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, I do fight.
Oh, very good. What's your name?
My name is Bobby.
And did you vote in this last election?
Yes.
And now, can you tell me, did you have any or experience any long lines or anything or any problems in the last voting for the midterms?
I think I did mine through the ballot. So just mailed it back.
So that was a lot easier. Now, for the people that you wound up voting for, some of them won, some of them probably lost. Do you find that you should hold them accountable for the jobs and all the promises that they had campaigned on?
Well, yeah, for sure. That's the whole concept of the democratic process. You vote for someone, they go into office with the interest of the public, which is why you vote for them. So.
And do you think that if there was a way for you to be able to get that message out to them, you would?
Yeah, I definitely would, actually.
Because as a voter, it should be also your responsibility to make sure that they hold their promises, from what they said, so that you can be, responsible for them.
Yeah, that's the whole point of power to the people and not the government. So.
All right, good. Well, that's it, man. We just wanted to make sure. Now, do you think that you will also follow up with that?
Sure, yeah, why not? So I used to be Republican, and I no longer am, and I'm nothing against Democrats either. Just right now, I feel like the political climate's a little unsteady, probably too unstable. Maybe if I were to say I'm Republican out loud, I'm not just saying out of first-hand appearance, but maybe a lot of people will start shouting at me, racist and stuff like that. As a Hispanic Latino, my first name is also Bobby, so it's kind of strange to a lot of people. Like, what are you? I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm right now. I affiliate myself with the Federalists, which is the very first political party, and my point of view is that I feel like there should be some sort of small influence injection in government right now. So that means politicians will start navigating away from both political affiliation, so they can start structuring the nation what's best for the people. I know a lot of things were much different back then. Like Thomas Jefferson's known one of the best politicians out there, just greatest influencers of his time. But also when he was fighting for the people, there were a bunch of farmers. But we live in Hamilton's nation right now, which is everything, the stimulation economy through government. I feel like that would help the nation. It'd be the neutral party pretty much in all forms. So that's my belief. There's no political party that's doing that. The independent party as well is not really along that line either. They're just missing a little bit of that oomph. You know what I'm saying?
So can I ask you, so you believe in more than a two-party system?
I believe we have two dynasties right now that are just locking horns, and it's splitting us up the North and the South of the 1860s or Cold War. It's pretty bad. All this political dilemma is starting to make people grouped. You know what I'm saying? And segregation as well. It's you're grouping yourself. KKK, Black Panthers, all these groups right there. They're influencers within their own communities, but it's also diminishing the whole fact of being able to interchange. You know what I'm saying? So sharing ideas, sitting down, kind of throwing it back to Jefferson and Hamilton. They had the dinner compromise where they sat down and exchanged beliefs, and now the White House is in Washington D.C. So yeah, it's pretty much that.
Man, thanks for your opinion. It's good to expand on what you believe, and as a voter here in Arizona, your opinion matters. All right, what's your name?
Roy Almaraz.
And did you participate in this last midterm election?
Yes, sir, I did.
All right, this is great. So what is your opinion about how your voting process went?
Well, for the midterm elections, since it's mostly by popular vote, I do agree with them more than compared to the general elections when it's up to the electoral vote. So I stressed, especially in this election, especially since it's more local matters for our state and for our city, I prefer to vote in those elections than in the larger ones.
Okay, perfect. And was your experience going to the polls, or did you mail in your ballot?
I got the early ballot, but I turned it in, so I avoided the line. But I still waited 3 hours in line for my friends because I kind of dragged them along to vote with me.
You are absolutely perfect because you're the person I want to talk to. So where did you wind up having your friends vote?
We actually go to ASU in Tempe, so they had just a ballot there, a ballot box or whatever, and all day long there was at least like 300 people in line, so it was a really good turnout. I was happy to see everyone vote.
And was this your first election?
Yes, I just turned 18 in August, so it was my first participation in voting.
Hey, congratulations on that. Now, is there anything that you find should have been different at ASU during that electoral process since the lines were so long?
There probably should have been at least one other location where we could have voted. The next closest one was about 5 miles away, which is pretty far for college students who don't have much access to their own personal transportation. They could have stressed about the early ballot more. That way people could avoid the line. But I did like that even though after 7, the people in line, they were still allowed to stay in line and vote. So I liked how they didn't kick anyone out.
That's perfect. And for the people that you wound up voting for, some won, I'm sure some lost. Would you be willing to hold them accountable for all of the promises that they made to you?
I hope so. I worked with one of them, not directly, but over the summer and past years, I worked and volunteered in nonprofit political organizations, and I got the opportunity to meet some of the candidates. I met David Garcia and Kristen Sinema, and so I voted for them. Obviously, one won, one didn't. But I am hopeful that she will keep her word and that she'll stand up for what she believes in and for what others believe in.
Thank you for your opinion, and thank you for voting.
All right, thank you very much. It was my pleasure.
Hi, can we get your name?
Celia, wait.
And Celia, did you participate in this last election?
Yes, I did.
And there are obviously people you voted for who won and some who didn't win. Would you be willing to hold them accountable for all of the promises that they made?
Yes, I would be willing to hold them accountable. I do understand that there is a broad spectrum around that, and so I'm more about the spirit or the essence of it than actually the letter of it. So I do want to hold them accountable, but I do understand that there does have to be compromise on occasion.
Okay. And how was your experience in voting? Did you do a mail-in ballot or did you stand in line?
I always get an early ballot, and I voted in advance, but I mailed it just before the election because in my experience, I've had people who have dropped out of a race that I perhaps voted for, and then my vote was, kind of void at that point.
And if there's anything that you can change in this last midterm election experience, what would it be?
I think that the word about early ballot needs to be out so that people from all types of walks of life, on all types of languages, have the opportunity to know that early ballots are available to them. I also think that ballots need to be expressed in a way, or the way that the ballots are written need to be in ways that people from all walks of life can understand them, as well as when they get those, I guess they're called the primary books or whatever, that is explaining the propositions, that people have the opportunity to understand that sometimes yes means no and no means yes, because the language can be really tricky for people who might not understand it well.
And is there anything else that you would like to add regarding any of the politicians that have been elected or any of the propositions that have been chosen?
I do. I hope that the people who have been voted into office realize that they're representing everyone and not just a particular party or a political line, that there's good and bad on both sides, and so vote with a conscience, or vote with a way that's going to help the people in your community rather than maybe what partisan politics would lead you to saying or doing.
Absolutely excellent. Thank you for your opinion.
You are very welcome. Thank you for letting me talk to you.
Can I get your name?
Kevin Ansel.
All right, Kevin, I want to ask, did you vote in this last election?
I did.
All right. And what was your experience like? Did you stand in line or did you mail in your ballot?
I mailed in my ballot.
Smart guy, signed up with a Pebble. Now tell me, was it an easy process, do you think, voting from this ballot?
Yeah, it was pretty straightforward.
So even the propositions weren't a problem for you to read and understand?
They're always a problem to read and understand.
So what would you change about it?
Everybody wants things to be more straightforward, but it's politics. You can't have things straightforward. But I mean, if it's a yes, frame it positively. If it's a no, frame it negatively. Don't turn it around, get it upside down, and make a no into a yes, and try to trick me into voting for something I don't understand.
And obviously, some people you probably voted for won, some probably lost. Would you want to help them be accountable for all the promises they made on the campaign?
Yeah, absolutely.
And if there was a process for you to do that, would you?
Yes.
Okay, cool. What would you like to do or even say to them?
Don't compromise. Do your job. Don't let money get in the way, and fuck it. Stop being bought. Stop being bought.
All right, thank you, Kevin. That's a great opinion. And one last thing, if you could change anything about the voting process, what would it be?
Less discrimination, less gerrymandering, and it needs to be fair for everybody.
That's perfect right there. All right, thank you, glasses and all. Thanks, man.
Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.